Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 24th Environmental Speaker Series. My name is Jennifer Olson. I'm one of the co-chairs for the Shoreview Environmental Quality Committee. And tonight we are going to hear about the new Ramsey County Environmental Service Center. But I also want to mention that next month, on March 24th, we're going to have a presentation called Our Lakes and Winter Salt in the Rice Creek Watershed District, and a representative from Ramsey County will be presenting that talk on March 24th. And our last environmental speaker for the season will be on April 28th. That will be the energy opportunities for your home. And that's going to be the Energy Partners in Energy, Excel Energy representative coming to talk about the new program here in the city of Shoreview. This evening, I'm going to welcome Beth Coreno, and she is the Environmental Health Program Supervisor for Ramsey County, and she will be talking about the new Environmental Center opening on April 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh, my name is Beth Carreño. I work for Ramsey County Environmental Health. I know quite a few of you in the audience tonight. I used to work at Rice Creek Watershed District. So if this had been happening a couple of years ago, I would have been coming next month and someone else would have been here tonight. So it's exciting to be here in Shoreview and talk with all of you about some big things that are happening for and in Ramsey County, and specifically the new environmental center that's opening, no joke, April 1st. I'm going to point out something interesting on this very first title slide. We have been referring to it as the Environmental Service Center for quite some time. And recently a decision was made that could be confusing to some of our residents because Ramsey County does operate service centers where people can kind of go and pay bills and connect with all sorts of other departments. And so we made the change before all the signs were ordered and everything was done to become the Environmental Center. So that's how I'll refer to it tonight. There are still a few things that you'll see around that will say Environmental Service Center, but as we swap things out, this is our name. We're really getting comfortable with it. All right, so this is an aerial of the current Environmental Center. This is pretty similar to what it looks like. Last week it would have been covered in snow. Probably after today, this is what it looks like again. This is really a part of enhancing environmental services in our county. It's part of a system-wide redesign, and it really is focusing on our residents. This was motivated because of feedback that we were receiving from our residents, and we identified opportunities to really improve accessibility, efficiency, and the scope of services that we could provide. So a key element of this system is the Environmental Center. Now, I want to point out a couple of things. I'm not supposed to move a whole lot from the microphone because we're recording, so I'm going to do my best to not dance around. But I want to point out on the screen some key features. You'll see, if I may, I'm going to just yell for a minute. Here we have an entrance right here, and these cars are parking in our visitor parking lot. So if you were to come to the Environmental Center and go to our reuse room, for example, you would use that driveway entrance, and that's where you would park. And then you could come in and you could pick from some of the paint, some of the cleaners, and the things that that are brought in by other residents, but they're still in good condition. They can be reused, and you can access that for no charge. Now, if you're here to drop off household hazardous waste, perhaps you have some paint left over from a project, you're going to enter right here. And you're going to go down the driveway and go in through here. That is the entrance. That's the entrance to the household hazardous waste. garage. Now, when you go in there, what's really nice about that, we're still working with folks from Bay West. You don't even have to get out of your car. You can open up your trunk. You can give permission to have them open your door or your trunk for you, and they will take your hazardous waste, and then you can go on your way. And it's pretty slick. We're pretty excited. Other features of the site, if you have recycling or food scraps, you're going to come this way and enter here. You're going to go down around here and then circle back. And those bins that you see along what we call the Z-wall is where all of the different recycling containers are going to be, as well as food scraps. If you look at this larger portion of the building, that's our solar array. This building is really energy efficient, and I'm only going to tease that because we've got a whole slide where we're going to talk about how Ramsey County really chose to walk the walk when we were developing this building. In the back is going to be employee parking, as well as where the trucks come in to take recyclings out for markets. On the far side, next to the visitors parking, that's also where we have some outdoor gathering space. There's some picnic tables and other benches. There are some native plant gardens and rain gardens over there, as well as some walking trail around our stormwater pond. So we've taken a traditional stormwater pond and tried to make it a really lovely feature on the property. If you go inside there, in addition to getting into the reuse room, we also have a community room and an education room where we're going to be able to host workshops and classes, and as well as meetings. We're not going to be ready to do all of this on day one. We're still in the process of hiring staff and figuring out how the space is used. But over the next year, we anticipate that our tours programs will get going. We'll probably be able to let partner groups use the space at different times. And then we'll also be hosting some workshops and events ourselves. I think I've covered most of the big parts.
That part over there looks like a garden. Is that what that is?
Right here?
Yeah.
That is just kind of a grassy space right now. The reason that it looks like that, that's where they put the many tons of compost on site for us to use. And we took it from there and we're tilling it in to all of, any place that you see grass or plants growing on the property, we tilled in local compost made from the food scraps pickup program.
What's the curvy part in the middle? It looks like a race track.
Yeah, so this is our stormwater pond. This is our water feature. So any runoff from the site is going to go into this stormwater pond. We've planted a lot of native plants and trees all around it. You can see here and a couple other spots. We tried to keep as many trees on site as possible, but we did have to take down some. And so we used those as anchoring in the stormwater pond. And we really did work with our watershed district, which is Capital Region Watershed District, to make it also a habitat as well as a stormwater pond. I want to be real careful when I say it's where all of the runoff collects from this site because it's an environmental center. So the inside of the building, right, is kind of it is self-contained. So if you're driving through the HHW drive-through and say we have some sort of spill, we actually have grates in that, and all the water, any water coming from melting snow, any spills on site go in there and never get released into our stormwater pond or into our septic systems, or our sanitary systems. So it's traditional stormwater runoff that, our communities, all developers are working with. Any other questions about that? There is a walking trail, this darker part. So these are our silt fences. this dark line right here, but this dark line outside, that is a walking trail that we used captured asphalt to do. We recycled asphalt, reused asphalt for that. All right. All right, getting a little close up on the facility. This is that outdoor space that I was talking about. You can see that we've got a native plant bed there, as well as seating outside. We really feel like this environmental center is going to really help us serve the residents of Ramsey County better. It addresses some environmental justice and equity issues that we had concerns about. It will allow us to serve more residents. It will manage a much larger number of materials, and honestly, it's going to be more cost effective and best for the residents of Ramsey County. So what is it? We kind of took a look at the building, took a look at some of the features, but what is an environmental center? It's a facility for the collection of recyclables and food scraps and household hazardous waste. We are going to include cleaning supplies and batteries, paint, used oil, fluorescent light bulbs, and even electronic waste when we are thinking about household hazardous waste. If any of you have ever been to one of our Fix-It clinics that we host across the county, this will be a permanent location for our Fix-It clinics. We will eventually do some more satellite Fix-It clinics, especially in communities that are underserved or have a population that may find it more difficult to get to the environmental center for a Fix-It clinic. But this will be a permanent location for those reuse and repair activities that we do. We talked a little bit about the free product reuse room, where you can find those things like paint and cleaners and automotive fluids. And then we talked about having a space for community education. All of our recycling and food scraps programs, our reuse facility, all of these are things that we provide to the residents of Ramsey County at no cost for its use. It really is part of a resident-first focus that we have. Again, these services are free to Ramsey County residents. We want it to be a one-stop shop for recycling and disposal services. This does include food scraps and electronic waste. I will say, however, it's not going to be a yard waste site. So we really shouldn't call it a one-stop shop, but it's almost a one-stop shop. We still will have all of our other yard waste facilities across the county that are available. We talked about having some wonderful community space, convenient and accessible location. Our research shows that it's on average about 15 minutes. It's no further than 15 minutes of travel for any Ramsey County resident to get to this facility. And it's centrally located. It's also on public transit lines. So it's really, we feel like it's really accessible to our residents. Oh, my goodness, I apologize for that. It is at 1700, that's on one of the first pages I was supposed to say that, 1700 Kent in Roseville. Yes, Larpenter and Dale, and there's like a cemetery there and a dog park, so. Mm-hmm.
So is that where the old nursery was?
I do not know.
Huh? No.
We are adjacent to the city and the county one of the public works yards that they'll use sometimes. It doesn't have any permanent structures there.
And so are the food wastes going away from all the other sites?
Nope. Nope, it's just going to be there as well. So we'll still have the 24-hour sites that we have scattered across the county. You can still take your food scraps to our yard waste facilities, but you can also bring it here. All right. So this is one of the outdoor spaces, or this is the main outdoor space. There are a couple others in the back for employees, Ramsey County employees as well. But here we'll be able to do some outdoor programming. We work with the extension volunteer gardeners. They can do programming here. We've got rain barrels out here. We'll do rain barrels sales from the site as well, and other demonstration activities. If you look up right here, you see there, I need one of those lasers tonight, sorry. Those are actually reclaimed bricks from the city of St. Paul streets. We did some research, and those came from University Avenue when they were redoing the streets for the train lines. All right, so I'm really proud of the work that we're doing to walk the walk. We took great efforts to incorporate sustainable and energy efficient, eco-friendly features into the project. We also learned a lot. On my team, we talk a lot about, using renewable and recycled materials in building projects and closing the loop for recycled materials. And we found that even for us, sometimes the process moved so quickly that it's hard to do these activities sometimes. It takes a lot of purpose. And so it really helped us as a team and as a division build relationships and learn a lot about the process so that we can be better equipped to support our businesses and organizations that are also doing development projects like this across Ramsey County. So we are B3 2030 certified. This is real similar to LEED, but it's Minnesota specific. We are using both geothermal energy and solar energy. The building is about 92% energy efficient, or excuse me, 92% net. So we do take some energy from the main systems, but 92% of our energy is supplied on site. So
Is that actually a solar collector?
this is the top of the building, and these are solar panels.
I've never seen anything like that.
And we're using the geothermal energy is keeping the building's ambient temperature in the 60s, and so I think it's about 66 degrees, and I apologize that I don't know the exact temperature for that. So if we need to heat it or cool it, we're starting at 66 degrees. So if we want to get to 68, it's just a 2-degree investment in the building to kind of get it there. So the landscaping, I told you we used food scrap compost. We used about 2,300 tons of food scrap compost when we were developing the site. And we were able to till that in across the site before we put in our native plantings. However, on the site, there were a lot of really lovely mature trees between the building and the road. And to the extent that we could, those trees were saved. We actually had some pretty big storms during construction, so we did lose a couple of the trees that we thought we could save during those storms, but we were really, really pleased that we were able to have those mature trees on site, and then we planted a lot of trees. We paid a lot of attention to water, both water retention in the landscaping, the water retention system within the building so that no water is leaving the site. We've got progressive stormwater management. I showed you a picture of our stormwater pond that we really kind of worked to make sure that it not only met the needs of the site, but that it was also, it could be considered a water feature as well. We have a rain chain on the building to demonstrate to people some of the different things that they could even try in their own homes. We used a lot of recycled materials and sustainably sourced materials. One of the things you'll see if you come into our reuse room is we're going to feature some pieces made with ash trees that have been lost across the metro because of the emerald ash borer. And so how are we dealing with that wall of wood that's kind of coming at us as we lose so many of our ash trees? So we're trying to showcase some of that work. We talked about the patio pavers. So, and then again, really making sure that it's a learning site as well, that we're demonstrating when you come in, that you can see the demonstration of some of these activities. So even if your home isn't a large-scale environmental center, you can use compost in your gardens. You might want to choose to have a rain barrel, planting with native plants, and there'll be educational signage around the site to help point out some of these demonstration activities. Focusing in on the household hazardous waste drive-through, gave you a little bit of information about that, but you'll circle all the way around and you'll come to that door. There'll be signage there kind of providing you with instructions on what to do when you're there. It's pretty much you're going to wait until that door opens. They call you, they kind of wave you in. You drive in to the next, up to your spot in line, and they'll empty your car for you. And we'll be really grateful that you're bringing your household hazardous waste to the center to be reused, recycled, and properly disposed of, as opposed to putting it in your trash cans. It is protected from the weather, which means we're going to be using this all year round, and it's going to be easy for our residents to use all year round. And we talked a little bit about that water and runoff capture to make sure that nothing leaves this site. All right, our reuse and educational spaces. Now here, I don't really have great photos yet. These are the last areas that are getting completed. And while the space is there, they don't look so pretty yet. So we're using some of the schematics that the designers have given us. This is as you're coming in, and if you're going into this reuse room, that's where we're going to have product. You'll see this large window when you walk into the space so that it's really inherent where you need to go. There'll also be a number of wayfinding signs around the facility. And then down here in the lower corner, that's an image of our education and community rooms. We're pretty excited about those rooms. They have a very large capacity. It can be one large room, or we can close the divider if we need to have two independent spaces, or we want one space to serve a smaller group. In the future, we are going to be available for tours, and I hope this group will consider coming and touring our facility and kind of seeing all of these spaces up close and learning about the programming that we provide. That's going to be one of the roles for some of our new staff that we're bringing on, is to kind of coordinate that tour program. So hopefully within 6 months or so, we'll be up and running and we'll get Shoreview residents there for a tour. In the meantime, we are going to be doing a number of other welcoming activities. And in addition to our April 1st opening, no joke, whoa, sorry. Big hands. In addition to our April 1st opening, we're going to do some events during Earth Week. So on Tuesday, April 22nd, which is Earth Day, we are going to be giving away silicone, reusable silicone food packages, the silicone bags, I think for about the first 200 or so folks that come through the facility that day. That Thursday evening, we're actually going to be having a community event. 6 to 8 p.m. and we're inviting the neighbors of the environmental center, and then anyone else from the public is definitely welcome to join. And there's going to be different exhibits and activities and tours of the facility that evening as well. Kind of a soft introduction to our communities and to our neighbors to know that we're there and that we do intend to be a good neighbor. And then on Saturday, April 26th, we'll have our first Fix-It clinic in the education room. So very excited about that. So this is a little bit of a timeline of where we are with our facility. We've had to have this remade a number of times because we are ahead of schedule and under budget with this facility. Initially, we did not anticipate that this building would open until 2026. And so we're really excited that we can get this done and bring this service to our community a year ahead of schedule. So this is a rendering of what the building looks like in winter. This is what they anticipated. And last week when we had snow, it looked very, very much like this image. This is an actual recent photo. This is a recent photograph. I'm really looking forward to seeing it green up. I want to see those trees have leaves on them and see some of those native plants blooming. I think it's going to be a really beautiful facility, and it's going to be around for a long time. Yes.
Do you have to take the snow off of the solar panels?
I don't know about the snow. I know that they do have to be maintained, and once a year, someone has to go up and hose them down to ensure that they will work efficiently. So we have special hose access or hose hookups so that they can get up there and hose them down once a year. You did mention the snow specifically, and one of the interesting features is around the public entrance going into the community and the reuse rooms. Those sidewalks are heated through the geothermal system, and so we don't have to use salt on site. So I'm going to transition away from the environmental center in a minute because I heard you might be interested in an update on food scraps. But before I do that, I want to see if there's any questions about the environmental center, and I will do my best to answer them. Yes.
So could you expand on the design and operation of the geothermal system?
No. It is not my expertise. I know that it's a geothermal system that's quite expansive because it needed to be large to right size the building. And I know that it goes down deep into the earth and captures that ambient temperature and brings it into the building.
So you're recirculating groundwater?
I don't think it's groundwater. I think it's air. I don't think this one is water-based, but you know what? I'm not positive. I've seen the water-based. I know examples of the ones that are circulating water. Mm-hmm. So I apologize that I don't know any more specifics than that.
Is there something on the website about that?
I know that we have a lot of information on the features, and there is information on the geothermal feature. I don't know if it goes into specifics or schematics. It might just say geothermal feature. If you want, you can reach out to me and I can get some additional information to share. Yeah, but I apologize. Yes. We will have expanded recycling. I know that we are making arrangements to accept plastic grocery bags. Those have to be in a separate container. They can't go in with regular recycling. I do not believe there's any, there are no plans at this point to take styrofoam. That really comes down to markets and what we can do with them and whether they can be, okay. At this time, I have not heard of any plans to take styrofoam. And I know that we've been aggressively trying to see what we can expand. I'm certain that as markets become available and we're able to, we will always strive to add as many things to the list of items that we can take. In fact, the very last slides that I'll have today, we're going to talk a little bit about textiles. Yeah.
You say people can drop waste, like food scraps,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to digest it inside. This means applying food waste into your tree or garden.
So there are a couple things going on. So people can bring their food scraps in their composting bags and they'll put them in just the bin. And then we'll take that to the facilities that we're currently contracting with to do the commercial composting there. We're not going to compost here. Mm-mm, mm-mm, no.
Second question, you say you have a free for waste for e-waste.
Yes.
E-waste means like a TV, like printer, everything on top there.
A phone, a printer, a TV, an old radio, walkie-talkies.
Every year spring we have we can drop to a car like you pay $50, $60, but if you drive there,
It'll be free. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you can drive a car there.
No, a carload. A carload. A carload. But we also are encouraging people to bring their batteries here as well, which is not a car, but your car battery. And in the very back. Oh gosh, okay. Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 6. Saturdays, 9 to 4, I believe. Oh, crunch time. We're getting so close. I believe that those are the times. They will be posted on the website, but I know we're not going to be open on Mondays or Sundays. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So your surface run off, you are not allowed to flow over out of facility, but you will store in this retention pond.
Yep.
And then the water will infiltrate to groundwater. If concentration pollutes
We have.
groundwater or not?
No, I don't. This is an infiltration pond, but I don't believe it's not going to be interacting with groundwater at the site. You're not allowed to have your stormwater ponds interact with groundwater in the construction. So this one is kind of it's contained. We do have outlets for the water. Like you'll see in the design, there are you've got both your inlets where the water's coming in, but if the water hits a certain capacity, it can still flow out in some cases. Mm-hmm. Then it goes into the stormwater system, but this is not anticipated. I mean, this is supersized. It's actually much larger than it needed to be. It also was built this size to be able to manage if we were to increase the site. They would manage the stormwater if we were to increase the impervious surface on the site as well. Yeah.
You'll have to help me on the terminology that you would know, but I know the state is making a law, but I think it's at the county level now. It's a lot of requirements on the county and the cities and
Yeah. Yes. We have our goal is 75% diversion. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it is. I mean, that's part of our solid waste management plan. Our goal is to get to 75% diversion. I actually have a slide at the very end that can show you a little bit of, it's a pie chart of how we, I'm glad I threw it in here. Wow, you guys are amazing. Like this, I don't usually get all these questions. But it shows how our, which percentage goes to the landfill. And right now, I believe Ramsey County is at about 11% of our waste going to the landfill. We do have waste to energy in Ramsey County, Ramsey and Washington counties. You know what, can we put a pin in that? Because I actually have a couple slides at the end that talks about the waste hierarchy that I think will maybe get us. That will be a little bit easier if I have a picture to kind of show some things. Is that okay? So my understanding right now of the rules is that communities are required to provide recycling and composting opportunities to their residents. I don't know of any rules that require you to participate, but it has to be offered to you. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we do have some other regulations that are beginning to roll out related to packaging to help consumers make better choices, and requiring producers that are selling things in the state of Minnesota to have compostable or recyclable packaging. And the fees that they're paying as part of that support local recycling and waste diversion efforts to make it easier for our local governments, for our cities and our counties to provide these services to their communities without the strain falling just on their residents and their taxpayers. So. It'll take paper, it'll take anything of the household recyclings, those metals, right? It is not a bulky waste facility. Most haulers provide some sort of bulky waste removal, and so you would want to talk specifically with your hauler. And then some cities, Krista, help me out here if I'm starting to get in over my skis, but some cities will also have collection days where you can put out bulky waste or take it to a site. All right. I've been with the county for 6 months, so you guys are really doing a great job keeping me on my toes. All right. Are we ready to move on? How am I doing on time? Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about the food scraps pickup program. People are really excited about this program. This complements our food waste drop-off program. Right now, we've got a number of collection sites across the county where you can take your food scraps and it will be, it's taken from those facilities and it's composted. This is going to be pickup at people's residence. You get a supply of free bags. You put your food scraps in that bag, and then you can you knot the bags and you put them in your collection containers with your trash. There's not a separate container. Some communities outside of Ramsey and Washington counties have separate food scraps bins that they roll out with their trash carts. We are moving forward with a system that we can accept your trash and your food scraps bags together, and we're using robots to sort the trash at our different facilities, separate the trash from the food scraps bags. And we feel like there are some definite benefits to this system, both from the ability for people in multi-unit housing to participate without needing a separate cart, to reduced traffic on the roads. So we're pretty excited about this. And then the food scraps will be turned into compost. So this has been done in a multi-year phased rollout to all of the residents in Ramsey and Washington counties. As of April of 2023, we had 3 phases completed. And right now, we've been able to make this system or this program available to all of the communities that haul directly to the Recycling and Energy Center, which is in Newport. So communities will be added as their waste transfer stations install the sorting, have the sortation capacity. What does that mean for Shoreview? Shoreview is in the next phase, or phase 4 of the program rollout. Currently, the waste that's collected in Shoreview goes up to Walters, the northern transfer station. And then that is, I don't have my pen, here we go. So here's Shoreview, and you guys are taking it up to the Walters transfer station in Blaine. We've signed the contracts with them. They're working through some permitting issues with the city, and we anticipate 2026, early 2026, for Shoreview to get the food scraps pickup program rolled out to them. Now, That's not an exact date. It could be later in the year. We hope that there aren't any more delays, but we anticipate early 2026 for you guys. We will still have our food scrap drop-off locations available all through the county, and that includes at the new Environmental Center. Any questions about the food scraps program? Yeah.
Have you had any issues with bags breaking? They're much thinner than plastic bags.
Sure. We're doing a lot of quality control studying. Have you seen the food scraps pickup program bags?
Well, just ones at the compost site.
Okay. The ones that we're providing through the program are heavier duty. So we've done some testing on how often the bags are breaking, any contamination that we might be having, and those numbers are quite low. We're very pleased with them. The bags do they are performing quite well. Right now, where we're kind of having our biggest learning curve is with our robots. So we're the first ones to try it at this scale, and our robots are learning. They're getting smarter every day. Right now, we compare them to teenagers. When we started, they were toddlers, and now they're teenagers. So sometimes we feel like they should be doing better, but they're still doing pretty good. So we're getting there. Yes.
This isn't really a question, but a comment that right now, the bags, I tend not to put, I keep my food scraps in a milk carton, in a half-gallon paper milk carton, until right before I'm gonna go to the center over there on Sherwood.
Mm-hmm.
And it always makes me nervous that if I put wet stuff in the bag early in the week, and then I can't take it till the weekend, it's gonna start digesting the bag, and the bag's just gonna be weak, the wet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if that's true or not.
So if you get the bags, like maybe online or at a grocery store, that's kind of this tier of composting bags. Yeah. So then the ones at the sites are kind of like a step up from that. They do recommend that if they're going to have to sit for long, to stick them in the freezer. Because, the minute you start to use them, they do start to break down. That's their job. But they should be able to manage those, but it depends on, is there liquid and chicken bones in it? So how much is in there mixing and kind of pushing on the bag? It probably isn't a bad idea, yes. Or put it in the bag and then put it in they recommend putting it in the freezer until you can take it. But then the food scraps pickup program bags that they ship out are even they're a little more heavy duty than the ones that we provide at the drop-off centers. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If it's any consolation, I've been using the bags in the garbage bin this big for about 10 years, and I only have one.
Really?
Yeah, so,
So I don't have to worry about it.
no, but then we just move them out into another garbage bill in our garage. So in the summer, those have to go really fast. Garbage bills.
Okay, well, good to know.
All right. Good questions. Thank you all. Got me sweating up here. All right. So I heard that there was quite a bit of interest on the Environmental Commission around textiles. And so I've just thrown in a few slides here on textiles. And hopefully I can answer questions. I'm not an expert in textile recycling. I'm learning as well, but I do have a couple staff that I work with that are chef's kiss on this, and they're pretty knowledgeable. And this is the information that they've been sharing with folks. So usable textiles, right? Things that are, high quality or still have some life in them, and they're not soiled or ripped or things like that, Ramsey County's first recommendation, and this is in many of our materials and our promotions, donations of those materials, resell them, repair them, come to one of our fix-it clinics, participate in a swap. There are a lot of different community groups, the Buy Nothing groups and the swap groups. So if you've got good usable textiles, that's always our first choice, is to donate them, resell them, do any repairs, swap them. However, there are a lot of non-usable textiles that are out there, and there are fewer options available, limited options available for recycling non-usable textiles. And really, you cannot ignore the impact of fast fashion on both our waste stream and in our textiles markets. Right now, because of fast fashion, consumers are cycling through twice the amount of clothing that they were going through in 2000. 25 years, and we've doubled our consumption of clothing as consumers. We're also seeing impacts of fast fashion at donation centers and resale centers, where they will often get clothing that still has the tags on it, but it's unusable and unsellable because the quality of fast fashion materials are often not good. So this is something that both as communities and as a culture and people, we are going to have to do some long-term deep looking at our relationship with fashion and textiles. But in the meantime, we need to look at what options are available to us. This is not an either or, it is a yes and. So Ramsey County participated in a textiles recycling pilot. It was funded by the county, and we went into this pilot in partnership with Retold, which is a textile recycling company, with the cities of Roseville, White Bear Lake, and St. Paul. We did textile recycling as part of 3 community collection events where other recycling was being collected. And at these 3 events, we diverted 7,728 pounds of textiles. What's really exciting and interesting, and Krista and I spoke about this a little bit at the beginning, is a lot of our residents aren't used to seeing textiles collection at our events, at our recycling events. And so the fact that we were able to still divert this much in these 3 events really helped show us that there is an appetite in our communities to manage textiles more sustainably. So we worked with Retold. Their mission is no landfill. They're wanting to change the behavior of shoppers so that they don't throw out textiles, household textiles. They're also working to kind of communicate what it means around some of our shopping habits and our consumption habits. Now, we learned about Retold recycling, and many others did as well, when they went on Shark Tank and Mark Cuban invested in them. Retold is interesting. They can take undergarments and clothing and towels and cloths and dog toys and stuffed animals, bed linens, and even shoes. What they can't take are unwashed items, carpets and rugs, industrial workwear, garments that have a lot of paint or oil on them, and then pillows and cushion innards. So convenience with a conscience is what they like to say. They do accept both usable and non-reusable textiles. Retold works at collection events, but you can also sign up for their services and purchase their services if you want to be from your own home, and you can ship textiles to them as well. 39% of the materials that Retold collects is able to be resold into thrift shops. What happens to the other waste that they collect? It's downcycled, as we call it, and it's made into a pulp called shoddy. And shoddy can be used for punching bag filling, or insulation, or car seat stuffing, and even cleaning rags. So, you know, in their reports back to Ramsey County, they didn't throw anything away. Nothing went to the landfill. So what do future efforts look like around textile recycling in Ramsey County? We are encouraging our cities to collect textiles at their cleanup events starting in 2025. There is the potential for them to get some funding to support those efforts if they need that. And Shoreview is doing textiles recycling at their cleanup, at their collection event. Yeah, so thank you for being an early adopter. We've got ongoing collection planned for the Environmental Center. We anticipate that starting in 2026, we'll be able to collect textiles out of the center. And then we're just going to continue with the education and the outreach and information efforts, both for our partners and the public. And that can come in a couple of different ways. It can be us providing information and education to our partners, us providing tools to our partners that they can use to educate their communities, and then we'll also continue to try to educate the public as well. All of this work is to help move us through the waste hierarchy. This is the slide that I talked a little bit about earlier. And you'll see over here with the big green box, reduce is the most preferred method in Minnesota and really anywhere for dealing with waste management. Just don't create it in the first place if we can. Next is being able to reuse materials. That's one thing that's important about our reuse room, so that we can reuse household hazardous waste. It doesn't have to be disposed of. It still has life. We can sell an old pair of shoes or we can donate an old pair of shoes to a thrift store, and it will get new life. They'll get new life with someone else. And then we recycle. Then we go to the organics recycling. You know, it's important to recycle our food scraps, but it's more important to right-size our food consumption and not have so much food waste in the first place, because that's a lot of energy that's wasted when we throw away food that could have been eaten. A significant amount of our waste, we use waste-to-energy practices, and then landfill with gas recovery, and then finally, the landfill is the least preferred way that we want to manage our waste. So this was just a slide that I kind of tagged on just in case I got asked, so I'll let you know. Right now, we've got 31% that we are recycling in Ramsey County. 20% is going through our organic recycling, including our food scraps program and our yard waste program. 11% is going to our landfills. Those are things that we either can't recycle or cannot be converted for waste to energy. And oh my goodness, I'm missing a number on this slide, and I'm going to have to do math in real time. What's 100 minus 62? 38? Is that right? Oh, look at me. My math teachers would be proud. 38% is going through our waste to energy. So, and we work with Excel. All right. Thank you all. You were very patient to this newcomer to Ramsey County as I talked about this exciting program and our efforts. It's no myth. Recycling exists. There's a lot of counter information out there trying to tell us that this doesn't work or that plastics don't recycle. And I will promise you this, in the state of Minnesota, if you recycle the right things and put them in the bin the way that you are supposed to, by law, they will be recycled. No one's taking recycling trucks and dumping them secretly at night into landfills in the state of Minnesota. Yes?
So the plastics that are 1, 2, and 5 or that
Mm-hmm.
PP,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do with those?
So we work, so a lot of it, most of it goes to Midwestern markets. So we've got different manufacturers, so that they'll get processed here, and then they'll go to different manufacturing companies that then turn them into new things.
Okay, that's for the plastic bottles and things, but if it's a plastic that isn't one of those three that are in plastic bottles?
No, if it's not one of the, well, if it's one of the three that we recycle, that you can recycle, they get pelletized.
Okay, so the other ones.
Mm-hmm. Now, if it's not all plastics, but it's all of the plastics that we can accept. Yeah. So, because there are some plastics, like if you have a Coleman cooler, that's a plastic cooler, you can't recycle that. So a lot of times when you see those numbers of like, oh, now so many plastics aren't being recycled, they're also including things that are like the industrial plastics and those kinds of things that we aren't able to accept and recycle. And that's where we also start wanting to encourage people to look at their consumer habits to make sure that they're purchasing things that are either made with recycled content or are recyclable. So, yeah. But any of the plastics that we are accepting are pelletized. Those are done, I say locally, but I mean locally being probably within about 60 miles. We actually do have a map that shows where our plastics go, or not just our plastics, but our paper, our pulp, our metals. I can share that with Krista if you guys are interested. But for Minnesota, we've made a very large investment in recycling markets so that our recyclables have some place to go and something to be made into. And that's really, it's not recycling until we as consumers purchase the next product. So it's not a fairy tale, it's real. We're opening the Environmental Center on April 1st, and recycling exists. Any other questions? I'm sorry, I think I went a little bit long. All right, thank you all. Thank you.